y'all. Hey, hey, hey. Happy Thursday. Thankful Thursday. Come on in. Let me know y'all here. Sorry. So I'm on the StreamYard and it turns the camera around. So I'm just getting used to this hair looking different to me. But still. Let me know y'all here. Yeah. I'm going to share this a couple of other places. Please let me know once you're here so I can know and I can say hello. And I'm going to start. It's Thursday, y'all. I don't know about you, but the week went fast to me. Like it went extremely, extremely fast. And some days that's good. Some days I'm like, what happened? Like I almost feel like I didn't have enough time. Right. So that's always interesting to me when it goes fast like that. So yeah, go ahead and let me know where you're at. Let me know that you're in here. I don't necessarily see anybody yet, but that's okay. Hey, Jonette, how are you, hon? How are you? Let's see. I'm just trying to share on my other page so it can be done, and I'm going to start. What's the weather down there in Vegas, Jonette? Is it like I always assume it's warm, but I know I went to Vegas in February one time, and it was not warm, and it snowed. That was February, so I was surprised by that. So I know better now. I know it's not always hot, but I always still am like surprised at I'm surprised when it's not hot. So I always ask. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. I don't know who's here. No, it doesn't matter because the replay will be up. So you know how I go. If the replay, if you're watching the replay, please type replay in the comments so I can know that you're here. And if you want me to make sure that I see that you are on, make sure you go ahead and you see the thing, click on the StreamYard.com Facebook. I think you put your name in, it gives it permission so it could show it to me. But I'm trying to still log in so I can see it anyway. It doesn't matter. So if you don't do it, that's hey, it worked. But if you can, that'd be great. So today I was so you know I try to keep our conversations on the same like tempo, right? I try not to switch it up too much so that we are always on the same wavelength. Wait, you said it's cold. Desert is cold at night, but it just had a light sweater on in the day. That's nice. That's a good problem to have. Not too cold all day, right? Yeah. So I try to keep the topic for the week pretty connected so that they flow from one thing to the other. So whatever we talked about the previous show, that we will kind of be able to connect it. And on Tuesday, we talked about what's a good investment. And I was saying you are in a good investment. So we talked about self-investments and self-care. Like that was a huge thing. If you know me, I am big on self-care. I'm big on making sure that you pour back so that you are not always pouring out and never have anything that's coming back into you. And that often leads to being depleted. Always, it leads to not feeling like you can really do much. You probably get tired quicker and you just feel like you have nothing else to give. So, and then just in the things you want to do, you need to invest, whether that's reading a book, whether that's going to do some self-care, whether that's going to take a course, whatever it is. You are the best investment that there is. You're worth that investment. That's what I talked about the other day. And I said, well, what can I go with this? Because I wanted to kind of go more on a business thing and talk about like potential, like not potential, but purpose, and like how, we all have something we can do. But you know what I started thinking about? We just had my Christmas party today at work. And one of the things I started thinking about was the holiday time. So I figured that in the next couple of lives that I'm going to do about holidays. I don't think we talk enough about how there are a lot of people that suffer from loneliness around the holidays. And then to couple on top of that with COVID, and then a couple on top of that, just possibly just being single or just not having your family around. It is very tough for many people during the holidays. And so I am definitely gonna tackle that the next couple of episodes. Okay. So I just, that's what we're talking about today. So let me go here. So I first want to make the distinction. There's a big difference between being lonely or suffering from loneliness and being alone. It's a very different things. Being alone is just a state, right? It's a lot of times that you're going to be alone in your life, and that's okay. That's something that's not a bad thing at all. But being lonely is a state of mind, right? And then there can be something called momentarily moments of loneliness, and there are things that are like a season of loneliness. Hey, Mom. And so you just have to be very careful that we know and we differentiate between the two. Okay. So I wanted to talk about that today. I want to read a definition. I don't do definitions often because I don't really want to, give just the standard book of it, but I want to say it because I want to be clear that we hear it. I thought this was a good definition. It came from my psychology book. Loneliness is the state of distress or discomfort that results when one perceives a gap between one's desire for social connection and the actual experience of it. I thought that was a great definition. Let me tell you why. I thought that was an extremely great definition because that part about the gap, it says it is a state of distress or discomfort, right? Loneliness doesn't feel good, right? It doesn't feel nice. That results when one perceives a gap between one's desire for social connection and the actual experience of it. I thought that was just really, really good because oftentimes I think it's when you think about why you feel lonely, it's because you desire connection, which is a human thing, right? And we all need it, right? They even talk about how babies, when they're born, babies that don't have human touch don't do as well as the ones that are surrounded by people or to have somebody that's engaging with them. We were born for connection. We were born for relationship. We thrive in relationship. So it's nothing wrong with desiring social connection. But the definition being that loneliness is the gap or the perception of the gap between one's desire from social connection and the actual experience of it. I just love that definition because I think that's really where it gets. It's like, okay, like I thrive connectivity, but I might not feel like I have it. And so that's like a big deal too, because people assume that loneliness means I'm alone. And it doesn't mean that. You can be surrounded by a room full of people and feel alone. Okay. Can I raise my hand? You can be surrounded by a room full of people and feel alone. And I have definitely, I don't talk about something that I don't know to be true. So I definitely, I know that that's a lot of people's experience. The reality is I think at one point in our life, everybody has experienced loneliness. And it's something that is individual, but I think if we talk about it, the more we talk about it, we'll realize it's collective and we all go through it. And when you start to think about all of us going through, maybe we can offer some support, okay, and offer some empathy, and then a form of being able to say, you know what, I've been there. I've been there, and let me make sure that you don't, stay there too long. That's my perception of it. So that was the definition. I thought that was a good definition. And then it also says here, even they said, yeah, the worst types of loneliness is long suffering, long lasting loneliness. And they said sometimes that's when people are around family and they don't feel that way, or it says even marriages or even work environments. Like I've heard people say, I've been working here for 20 years and I feel unseen. And I'm like, really? Like you've been working here your whole life and you just don't feel seen? But it could be the environment. Like I'm here at work, but I don't connect to anybody. Like I don't connect with anybody. So I could see that, right? So yeah, so that was the definition. So I thought that was good. So I wanted to kind of give some ideas about it. Again, it's not something that is like, I want to be clear, it's not something that's a unique experience. We all have been through it. That doesn't mean that you minimize it at all either. It's just a matter of saying, you know what, we have all been through this. So let's be able to reach out and have a sense of, I don't want to use the word atonement, but to be able to say, hey, I know what it feels like, right? I mean, we all have experienced it. So for someone to pretend like they never felt lonely, that's crazy. Like, I'm sorry. I don't like using the C word, crazy word, but we've all been there. The reality is to be honest about being there and then to realize what things are coming from that, right? Sometimes when we feel that way, we do other things as a result of it. And then we pile that on top, but the bottom feeling is loneliness. And I even heard someone say, like, even under loneliness is disappointment, right? Because somewhere in some relationship, there was a level of disappointment for an expectation that was not met, right? Remember we talk about with relationship, the silent expectations? Well, those things of, because we're in a relationship, these are the things I expect from this relationship. I might have not communicated them, but I expect it. And when I don't get those things, I am now disappointed in you or whoever the person is that in your relationship with, because I don't feel like my needs were met. And so that disappointment under there can also stem and cause the loneliness as well. Because then now you're like, yeah, I'm in your space, or you say that we're in relationship, but I don't feel seen. I don't feel heard. I don't feel comforted. I don't feel that we're connecting on a deeper than surface level. Okay. So that's when we talk about it. So I don't want anybody to say, like, I don't want anybody to be dismissive about that. Like, oh, that's what they deal with. You know, when we talk, the reason we talk about this show, y'all know it's about mental health. Y'all know it's about wholeness. Y'all know this is about, you know, purpose and just being complete and being the best versions of ourselves. So what we don't do is we're not dismissive. We're not like, oh, that's their problem. I've never dealt with that. The way that you grow is to be able to take everything you hear and be able to apply it to you in some kind of way. And if you don't have much work to do there, that's fine. But the inability to be able to take something and pass it through you to make sure is a problem. If you cannot take everything that you talk about or hear and actually think about how it applies to you, then that's an issue. If you're scared to do that, if you say, well, that's their problem, I don't deal with that. Okay. I mean, that's the reason I give examples of me all the time, because I want to be very clear. I'm no expert. I'm not somebody who perceives to be one, but I will say this. I think we all can, it's okay to be introspective and to look at something and then to dissect it and figure out how to go. So that's the first thing I wanted to say about that. So now that we realize that we have all dealt with loneliness, what can we do with that, right? What do we do? Because like I said, right now, this is the holiday time, right? This is definitely not, it's definitely a time where a lot of loneliness happens. Hey sis, how are you? Love you. This is definitely some time that a lot of people feel extremely lonely, especially if they have lost a parent, they have lost a child, if they have lost, then you got COVID going on. People have lost all type of loved ones through this, co-workers, friends, people at church. A lot of people are suffering, especially, and the holidays seem to highlight all of that. It seems to highlight every feeling that you have, because the thought is that, we spend this with the people we love. And it's a lot. It's a lot. And then even like I said, we were talking about loneliness is not just equal to being alone. The reality is that just being alone doesn't mean that that's the only way you can be lonely. Sometimes the loneliest people are in situations and they're like, okay, wait a minute. I have the relationship. I have the kids. I have the family around me. And I have the friends. I have the coworkers, and I still feel empty in here. And that's something that's a bigger issue that we need to talk about, because it's a silent killer, I want to call it, right? It's a silent killer, because guess what? People will not want the perception that it's possible to be lonely, but in the middle of a room of people. They don't want that perception. They don't want that. They don't want to look like the, woe is me. And so sometimes they might not be honest about that feeling. And so, hey, Julia, hon, how are you? Girl, I just feel like we need to talk about this loneliness thing. I've been there. Listen, holidays come. I've been single for a long time. Let's talk about it, guys. Okay. I have been single for a long time. I really, really don't, I deal with it much better nowadays, because I don't think it's like a leper or disease or anything. It's not anything like that. But I will say this, around the holiday time, it's almost like it's a big light put on your head. Like, hey, single, what up, girl? What up, single person? Yeah, hey, Miss Defective, what is wrong with you? And even if nobody says it, because sometimes people do say it, you feel it sometimes. So, sorry about that. So I definitely understand how this time of year can make you feel extremely lonely. Like I said, with anybody, right? It's very easy. Okay. So that's why I'm talking about it, Julia. I really wanted to get into it. Okay. Let me read this comment before I go into my other points. Jasmine, you said, what I did was look inside me to see why I felt someone had to fill any void I had. This allowed me to work on me being whole and happy with me by myself. This allowed me to grow and get past loneliness. If you can't be happy with just yourself, you can't be happy with anyone else or any type of relationship. What do you think? Yes, Jeff, like that's a really good point. That's really what a lot of this is. You do have to figure out what is that void that's inside of you that makes you feel like you're empty. What is that hole? And it honestly, it cannot be filled externally, but we try to do that often, right? We try to fill the hole. And the reality is you really have to work on trying to be whole. And that's internal work. That's internal work. And I'm glad you hit on that, like that you were hitting right where I was about to go. That's the internal work. You have to learn how to have internal peace and internal joy. And you have to learn how to be able to be happy with you by yourself. And then you can be happy with other people, because guess what? You're not looking for the external to plug you into your internal hole. I'm going to say that again. I'm not looking for anybody or anything externally to plug in anything that's internally, that's a hole inside of my heart. So that's a really, really good point, because you're not going to get able to be past the loneliness if you can't be happy with you. And honestly, that sounds real cliche, but it's real deep work. It's really deep work. And a lot of people don't think that it's a big deal, and they therefore don't do the work. And therefore they're like, well, they always look for somebody to fulfill that. You cannot have, let me go there. Can I go here? All right. I don't like to do this, but sometimes I do it. So I was in a relationship years ago, a long time ago. I was actually probably like before I had Makai, right? So I had Makai when I was 21. So before I had Makai, I remember a guy was like, you're my everything. You make me happy. I can't live without you. And I don't, you're my happiness. And I was just like, It was real heavy to me. Now, I didn't have the words to articulate what it meant because I thought that's what I was supposed to want, right? You want somebody to feel like they can't live without you, right? Isn't this what the movies say? I don't want to live without you. The songs say that, oh, don't want to be without you. You're my everything. If you're not here, I can't live alone. Ma'am, sir, that is so toxic. No. You can love somebody, but I hope that's not literal. And for this person, they made it literal. They made me feel guilty every time they didn't feel good. Every time something was wrong with them, it was now my responsibility to make them better. And as much as I tried, it was never working. You know why? Because I can't feel something that's inner. I can't feel anything that's inner for you. And it's not that I don't want to. I tried as the best I could, but I didn't realize that that's his own work. I can't go in your heart and heal it. I can't heal the past traumas. I can't heal the past neglects. I can't figure out what's going on inside of you to help heal you. And neither can you do it for me. So it's not just me trying to withhold work. It's like vice versa. You can't do it for me either. It's not fair for me to expect that from you either. And we have to be very careful about that. So Jazz, that was a really good point. Let's see. Jonah, you said when you're lonely, you think it will never end. Yes, that's the thing. And sometimes what we don't realize is loneliness is a deep slope. It will go into depression really quick. It will flow into depression really quick. Because once you think that nobody's around, nobody has your back, nobody cares about you, then it can lead into depression. And it could be temporary and situational depression, and it can lead to chronic depression. So we have to be very super careful about that, because if you don't leave that unresolved for so long, it goes into that. Oh, Julia, I think you missed when I first said it. You said, Paris, would you say that a married person can suffer with loneliness? Absolutely. And I'm not married, and I cannot sit here and say that I am. But like I tell people, like, y'all have to stop that whole thing. If you ever never been married, you can't talk about marriage. Sorry. I don't know about marriage because I haven't been inside of one, but for facts, you can be lonely inside of a marriage. Talk to enough married people. And I'm not even talking about just like, I have to be careful because I don't want to step on any toes. This is not me trying to be an expert, but you can absolutely be lonely, because loneliness does not equal being alone. You can be in a friendship and be lonely. You can be in relationships and be lonely. You can be in a marriage and be lonely. You can be at work with coworkers for the last 20 years and feel like an outcast and be lonely. You can have 10 kids and feel lonely in the house with your 10 kids. Absolutely. Because loneliness is the state of mind. That just means I lack connectivity from where I felt like my social connection. This is what I believe. This is my biggest thing. I believe that we have a whole bunch of expectations of connectiveness, and then we have what we really have. And it doesn't always point to being a problem with the relationship, but it can be, right? And it just depends. Either one or two things are going wrong. Either my expectations are flawed or not communicated well, and therefore that person I'm in a relationship with didn't know what to expect, and therefore couldn't provide it, and that could be corrected, right? Or it's just that the relationship is actually not good, and you have already communicated your expectations, and you stayed anyway, even though you know it's not good, because you just don't want the perception of being lonely. But the reality is you are experiencing the loneliness in the situation. I remember someone said, why are you single? Why you been single for so long? And I think my answer after a while, because I used to be really offended by that. Like, why y'all act like being single is being a leper, right? Not that I, want to be single for the rest of my life, but it's just like, I'm whole. I feel good. I'm good. Paris is good, right? So, but I remember once I realized, I said, what is really like why am I single? And I said, I think what it is that I'm not, the worst feeling I remember ever having was being in a whole relationship and still being lonely. That was hard for me. That was extremely hard for me. Not because, and now as I've grown up a little bit more, I do believe every relationship, no matter how good it is, you will experience some form of loneliness. I do believe that. I know that to be true now. I did not know that before. Okay. So that's the disclaimer. I did not know that before. Every single relationship you get into, there will be moments in time where you're lonely. You know why? Because we are human. Number one, they are human. Those are two reasons. You are human and they are human. The reality is that no one will always know exactly how you feel at all times. It's not possible. No one is predictive about knowing how you feel at all times. I do believe that if you care about somebody and you love somebody, you definitely should learn them and you should study them. I heard someone say that. They said when you get married, you should study your spouse to a point where, because it says you become one. So you need to know what you're becoming. And so when you become a student of your spouse, then you can serve them better. I thought that was so beautiful to hear. And it was great because it came from a man. But the idea of it was, I'm here and because I'm becoming one with you, I want to know what's becoming me, what I'm coming into covenant with. So their point was to become a student of you so they can understand, how to better serve you. And I think that's for every relationship though, right? Like at first I'm saying, well, hey, if I didn't do something, if I didn't know if somebody needed this, how could they be offended? And I had to learn that you can be offended by something regardless of, it doesn't matter if I feel like it was a rightful offense or not. The reality, they got offended. So then how do I fix it? And the best thing is to go ahead and, be genuine and apologize, but also to study that relationship so that you can know a little bit more. But I am also a real fan of being direct. I am all a fan of it, right? I believe in being upfront and telling people what you need. Hey, like I tell people, I need open communication. I need you to be able to say what you need to say to me. If it's harsh, that's fine. I need to hear it because I need to know. I'd rather not sit here and guess, so that's definitely something I believe that can definitely happen in relationships. So we have to be honest. And Deborah, you said with also being content. Yeah, sometimes being content in a relationship can make you feel like or you get lonely because you get to a point where you kind of numb out and you just like, oh, okay, I'm good. And you're not really realizing that you're not getting your needs met. Right. So that's a thing. Okay. So these are some good things you guys are bringing up. So let me go into a couple of things we can do to cope with loneliness. Like I said, and like I said, I want to make sure we realize everybody gets lonely at a time. So it's not something to beat yourself up about, not something to hide. It's not a mental illness to be loneliness. There can be to be lonely. There can be things that can push you into mental health things. Like I said, depression is one of them. And especially if you're dealing with chronic loneliness, that becomes something different, right? And then at that point, I definitely believe you need to talk to someone about that. Preferably a therapist, even if you don't have a therapist yet, talk to your primary care doctor about it. It's no harm, no shame. You know how I feel about that, guys. I really want us to let's normalize taking care of our whole self. If you can go to the OB-GYN, if you can go to the heart doctor, you can go to the eye doctor and the ear doctor, take yourself to the mind doctor. I don't understand why that's still a stigma right now in 2020. I cannot get that right now. I really can't. So here we go. Let's talk about a couple of ways to cope with it. Number one, I feel like a good thing to do is to switch it up. How about, let's see, focus on who is reaching out to you. Sometimes we focus on who is not reaching out to us. Okay. And we say, oh, so-and-so did not reach out to me. Oh, so-and-so didn't say this. Well, that might be true. And it could be because of a lot of different reasons. But let's instead say, you know what? But so-and-so is reaching out to me, this person over here, and that person is. And sometimes what we do by accident is we mess up our relationships of people who want to be around us because we are grieving the relationships of the people who don't want to be around us, and at least in the way we want them to be around us. I'm gonna say it again. Sometimes you can mess up the best relationships that's around you because you're grieving who is not being in relationship with you the way you want them to be. And I think that although you can feel the loss, and that's a valid loss, you have to be present. Be present when you're in whatever relationship you are in. That's being in relationship with a spouse, with friends, with your children, with anybody. We have to be super careful. I had to learn that, like, right now, I think my personal present right now is to hey cousin, I love you, Nikita. Being present. I think that's, like, it sounds crazy. I know it's gonna sound, y'all know, y'all already think I'm all this or whatever. But I'll say this. I used to tell everybody I love give people the present of me, which is the present of my presence. And what I mean by that is before I instead of giving you a material gift, I'd rather give you an experience. And so let's go do something together. I love experiences. Anybody knows that about me. I love experiences, but I also want to be present when I'm with you. Don't you know when you go somewhere with somebody and they always on their phone? I'm guilty too. I've done it. Social media has us doing that stuff. It's horrible. Sometimes you just go to parties and everybody be on their phone and you be like, oh my God, this is horrible. Sucks, right? But that's the thing. We definitely, so I get to a point where if I'm with you, let me put my phone down and not talk to somebody else in the background while I'm trying to connect with you. I am giving. So in this holiday season, give the present of your presence in physical and in, like, emotional connection, right? I absolutely believe that we can feel better. It doesn't have to be a high quantity. It has be just the quality. Like, I might not see some of my friends but once a year. Now that sounds like a lot, right? I mean, like, not a lot at all, but I might not see some people but once a year. But when we get together, like, we get it in. It was like, oh my God, like, this is what we needed, right? It doesn't have to be 17 times we get together, but when we do get together, we connect on a deep level. So next time you're with, you might not be with the people you want to be with, but okay, but don't mess up the relationship with the people that you are with, grieving the people that you can't be with, and then give them your full attention. If you're going to be there, be fully present. Yes, sometimes we have our phones, but don't be on it all the time. Don't be scrolling through Facebook. Don't be doing this. Like, even if it's like a dull conversation, I'm telling myself this too, because sometimes when it gets boring, I know it's easy for me to just turn on the phone. You said the quality of engagement is what matters. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you sitting there and y'all twiddling your thumbs and you this and that, like, let's do the old school thing and start asking questions. Like, we sometimes have so many surface relationships. My God. And I think it's because people are so scared to be hurt that they don't let anything out about themselves. Start to lay it out on the table. Like, start to lay stuff out on the table. If you don't want to pry in somebody else's business, tell them, say, hey, guess what happened to me last week? Blah, blah, blah. Start a conversation. Bring up something in the news. If you don't want to talk about something in the news, talk about anything. It does not matter. You have to be able to we have gotten lazy with our engagement. We've gotten, me included. I'm not talking about, I said we, so don't get offended, anybody. We have got lazy with our engagement. We don't know how to relate. And so it's very easy to pick the phone up and to kind of numb out. It's very easy to walk out and say, just and not be there. It's very easy to listen to some music in the background and just kind of mellow out. It's very easy to be watching TV and not be there and be present. And I know that was something I had to be I had to really work on more. It's just when I don't have a whole lot of time. I don't have a whole lot of time, but when I'm with you, I'm trying to be present. The goal is to be present, because without it, you become emotionally numb. So that's something, that's the one thing I want to bring up about that. Here's another one. I like this. Yeah. Tell me if this is helping you guys, because I just really thought this was really good. Let somebody know your intention. So for example, if you call somebody or you text somebody and you feel like they're brushing you off or they're not like really, they give you one word answers, instead of you feeling bad and walking away and assuming that they have an issue with you, how about you say, hey, you know what, I'm reaching out and connecting because, you know, I want this relationship. I want us to connect on a deeper level. I want to catch up and, you know, I would love to spend some time with you right around this time of year, especially because I have time. I believe that is called intentionality. We talk about that, right? Stop assuming that people don't like you. Stop assuming that people have issues with you. I mean, could it be true? It could be. But why assume it? Let's be open. Let's be honest. Let's be intentional. And guess what? If you know that somebody has an issue with you, why dwell on that? If you still want to connect with them, then do that. And if they actually respond, then be intentional and say, hey, I just really wanted to reach out to connect with you. Is it possible we spend some time together and just kind of get to know each other more? Or is it possible we can spend some quality time together, just me and you, nothing else, and just kind of, you know, brush up on our relationship? Be intentional. Let them know. And don't feel bad about it. Like, and I know some people now, I see some of the neck rolling. I ain't about to do all that. I'm not about, they know I want to be in relationship with them. They know I want to do that. Stop saying that. No. There are no mind readers in 2020. And in 2021, don't go into that with that. Don't do that. We are so grown. Say what you need. Say what you want. Say what you desire. You won't get it unless you say it. You know, and if somebody loves you back, they'll be able to say, okay, you know what, maybe, okay, let's make this work. Most times you can come to a compromise more than you believe. You might not get everything you want, but you can come to a compromise. Compromise. All relationships takes compromise. So, you know, be intentional with your words and what you want and say what you need. And then you'll be surprised. You really will be surprised. Because a lot of times, though, what you think is like somebody being short with you or they don't have time with you, they might generally be busy. I hate when people say that whole meme of, oh, you see who your real friends are, but where they are in the middle of a crisis. Stop that. It's some people barely able to hold their head above water in this season. And you got the nerve to be taking account about how much they're reaching out to you. Stop it. It's selfish. There's some people that literally are losing their mind right now. There's some people suffering with depression. There's people that are suffering with waking up in the morning. You don't know what they're going through. Don't you dare make this about you. If you're feeling lonely, realize that's a you issue. You're feeling lonely. If I'm feeling lonely, that's a me issue. Let me figure out what's up with me and not place it on somebody else. But instead, let me go ahead, like when Jasmine said, like literally, I can't take somebody external and plug in my internal holes. But instead, let me figure out what that is. And then I'm going to try to connect with you because I do want the social interaction. I do want relationship. But I'm not going to assume and push out anything and then come in this bad negative space where now that person, why would they want to connect with you when you're coming with that negativity? When you come and blaming, when you're coming with this whole, why would somebody want to connect with you if you're doing all of that? Guys, come on, let's think about this. Common sense. If you approach somebody with a negative energy, you don't give me this attention. You're not around me. You don't want me. Why would they want to be in relationship with you? You're not a kid. You cannot have temper tantrums. Yes, I'm being a little harsh, but you need to hear this. If you want relationship, be intentional. And instead of the negative connotations, you're not this, pull it back. Take a deep breath. Realize that that's something that you want. And if you want it with this person, let's talk about it and say, hey, I want to do, let's go do something for the holidays. Let's go do this. You got some time? I have some time. Let's get together. Let's build, whatever. And let's get back to where you want to be and be intentional and let them know so that they don't have to guess. And therefore you're not expecting them to know. Just clear communication. Okay. All right. So, Deborah, you said, I struggle with loneliness, yet I'm more introverted and enjoy being alone. Well, you know what? And that's something that's interesting too, because I hear a lot of people talk about the introvert thing more, and it's nothing wrong with being an introvert. Sometimes people are more comfortable being alone in their own space. And like you said, enjoy the time being alone. There's nothing wrong with being an introvert. but loneliness should be different. Like I said, being alone and being lonely are two different things. So, for example, everybody assumes I'm an extrovert, but I think I'm ambivert. I think that's what it's called. I'm somebody who, when I'm out with people, I love being around people. If it's my people, right? If I can vibe and, I love it. But then when I'm like alone, I recharge and I enjoy my alone time. Like, oh my God. And I didn't used to know how to do that, but I so enjoy my alone time. I really do. That's the time I get to recharge and come and, just read a book or, whatever I'm doing. It's just, it feeds me. So in both situations, I'm not lonely. Sometimes I'll be more lonely when I'm in a group of people I don't feel like I vibe with. Like I've been out somewhere and I'm like, this is not my people. I'm just being honest. Have you ever been in a place where you're surrounded by people and you like, this ain't it. This ain't it. And I'm like, and I get out of those situations. And there's nothing wrong with that, y'all. Protect your peace at all costs. I have been out and I'm like, oh, like, and then being an empath now, I feel everything. So I'm in a room, and if it's just a whole lot of negativity, if it's a whole lot of darkness, if it's just a whole lot of just extraness, and it's overwhelming for me. It's overwhelming for me, and I have to get out. I have to get out. So I protect my peace by getting out. I feel more lonely in that situation than I would alone by myself. So there's nothing wrong with dealing with loneliness. It's a separate thing from enjoy being alone sometimes. Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, Jonette, because that's like people get that confused all the time. Okay, here's another thing. Meet new people. Okay. I'm so tired of this whole no new friends. Like we do this all the time, and it comes from a place of being hurt. It's a defense mechanism. I think a lot of times we legit always talk about how we don't want anybody new. I don't need those new people. I don't know about people. I'm suspect. And guess what? You know what? Y'all, we young. If you alive, you can make a new friend every day. Why do we push away from that? We're here in this earth to have relationship. We are here in this earth to have relationship. So the idea that you don't want to make new relationships, I will never get that. I do get that it's from a hurt place. But y'all, we have to stop that. Stop it. Nikita, it is for sure a front. For facts, big facts, it is a front. Because I think it comes from a hurt place. It really does. And we have to be honest about that hurt. It's okay to have been hurt. I've been hurt. Oh my God, I've been hurt about a lot of relationships. But I don't close myself off to new friendships. I will say this, is sometimes maybe you're in a season where you can't connect with somebody, and that's okay. Like sometimes when I get out of a bad relationship, right after it happens, I need a cleansing period. Not for anybody else, but for me. I need to cleanse my heart. I need to cleanse my intentions. I need to cleanse my mind. I need to cleanse my spirit. That's necessary for me so that I don't bring any of that baggage or any of that woundedness into the next situation. But then once I'm done with that, then I can be open. I'm open to that. I am definitely open to it. But for you people that's talking about, I don't want no new friends. All I got is my 30-year friends, and that's all I got, and I don't want nothing else. I got whole lots of words for that, but no. That's bad. It's not good. It's defensive. Oh, Nikki, that's another good one. You said trauma and hurt will keep us bound and believing that we can't be engaging, loving, and open to people. Facts, big facts. That's what it is. I'm trying to say it. That's really what it is. It's hurt. And it's past traumas and experiences that really keep us from saying that, you know what, I'm just good. I'm okay. And I hate when someone says I'm a loner and I don't want anybody else. It's okay. Listen, it's one thing to say that I prefer having my time alone. But when I hear somebody that has no friends, that has nobody they talk to outside, they can't call anybody up to ever do anything. I mean, yeah, right down the pandemic, we're not supposed to do nothing. But before the pandemic, if you never went anywhere with anybody, if you never got somewhere and talked to anybody, like, that's a whole problem. And then people want to convince you, oh, I'm just that type of person. I'm just, or, people always try to tell you, oh, everybody's always intimidated by me. That's why, I don't have any friends and I'm okay with that. And sometimes when you're in certain places of your life, that's just where you're going to be. And I just always look like, false. Nope. No, it's not true. I'm sorry. We have to stop perpetuating madness. You are not alone because you're in some season in your life where you're too great to be with anybody else. I don't believe it. Sorry, not sorry. We got to stop saying that, because guess what? It puts this delusion in people's head that they're supposed to do life alone, and God never said that. I try not to put God into it, but y'all already know how I feel. Like, they are important, Jonette. Relationships are important. They are important. You don't know everything. You're not gonna always get everything, and so there are gonna have to be people around you that you're in a relationship with. You are blessed through other people. You get ideas through other people. You can't, even if you have a great idea, you need people to make that thing happen. Nobody has built an island. I mean, there's not been anything built by itself. It's not one person's show. It's no real thing. It's just not true. Okay, sorry, I feel like I'm in a soapbox, but I just hate when I hear people talk about that whole idea that they just don't have friends, and that's how life is. And they have this whole idea, like, we have to get healed and realize that's from a place of pain. That is definitely from a place of pain. Okay. So y'all, get some new friends, meet new people. There's so many amazing people. And yes, I know I'm talking about meeting new people in COVID, but use your resources. One of the resources is social media. Stop fighting social media. Okay. Yes. Sometimes people overuse it for the wrong things, but it can be amazing. Have y'all heard of this app called meetup.com? That's a pretty cool one. They used to have like, different things you can go and groups you can be a part of. And now they got some stuff that's virtual. Like, you can be part of book clubs. Like, what if you like to read and discuss books? Well, that's cool. They have lots of those things now. Search for that stuff. Search for private groups where they talk about different things, where you can go on there and voice your opinion. Now everybody's doing Zoom parties, different things. It's so much out here, and you can find where you fit in at. Maybe you're somebody that likes to talk about dinosaurs. That's your thing. And you think everybody else thinks dinosaurs are weird. But then you find a group of people that y'all all talk about dinosaurs. Wouldn't that be amazing? It's something for everybody. I promise it is. You're not alone. You are not on an island by yourself. There's somebody who likes what you like. There's someone who thinks your voice is amazing. There's someone that thinks that you don't talk too much. There's someone that's not burdened by what you say. There's someone that won't make you feel that way either. So, like, find your people. Just because you don't feel like your people are around you, that might be true. The people that's in your immediate circle might not be your people, and that's okay. They might love you, but they might not be your people. That's a whole nother conversation. You might have people in your direct vicinity that might not be your people. That doesn't mean they hating on you. That doesn't mean they don't love you. They just might not be your people. And what does your people mean? The people that really connect with you on a deep molecular level. And there's nothing wrong with that. Y'all, we have to stop this whole idea of, oh, well, if everybody right here doesn't accept me, then it's something wrong. No, it just means that they're not your core group. And it's okay. It's okay. And if you're around somebody that has other friends and other people, just be okay with them finding somebody that they connect with. Why does that offend you that they've connected with other people? We have to work on that, guys. Just be happy that they found somewhere they fit in. If anybody around me to find somewhere they plug into and they're happy, I'm ecstatic for them, because you found your people. Everybody isn't your people. Everybody ain't haters. Everybody ain't trying to come at you. Everybody's not difficult, but sometimes you just get along with other people better, and it's okay. It's okay. I mean, even in relationships, I've told people, like, listen, me and you don't work out, but I wish you the best. And I didn't just say that to say it. I really meant it. I really wish you the best. I hope that you find everything you look for. You're going to make somebody happy one day. Now, they could have not made me happy, but I don't curse them or wish anything bad on them. And I'm not depressed because it didn't work out between me and that person. And I don't feel less than because of that. We have to work on that better. I have friends, and then me and that person, and we're no longer friends. I love a meme they had out. Sometimes things are for a season and for a lifetime, and sometimes seasonal things end. And just because it ends doesn't mean we beefing. If I'm in a friendship with you, or something happens and things go wrong, and we're no longer that close, I can wish you the best and say, I hope everything works out for you, and really mean it. I can, like, pray for you and really hope that things go well, and clap when you do well. And you can do the same for me. We don't have to be beefing. And somebody say, what happened to so-and-so? Why they not around? Just say, oh, they doing well. And leave it at that. It does not have to be a beef. Separation does not have to be like a bad thing. Or sometimes you're just in a season where you have more time for somebody and don't have more as much in another season. It does not mean that there's a love that's lost. So sometimes we have to be okay with being in those different seasons, right? I absolutely just I want to make sure we feel that, because this loneliness thing is a real thing. So like I said, talk about meeting more people. Think about our relationships, being present. I'm almost done. And let's see. I'm almost done. Here's another one. Volunteer somewhere. I think that volunteering, a lot of times when you're unsure about how you feel, if you feel lonely, it's always great to do for other people. Oh my God. I think that is one of the best gifts, is when you are selfless and you're giving. Right now, there are always homeless people. There are always struggling families. There's always something going on. If you can do it, let's start blessing other people. Let's pay it forward. Like, if you're getting some coffee, pay for the person behind you. You don't know what that's going to do for their day. If you're going to buy something for yourself, buy 2 of them and give somebody else with it. If you are, I know someone was saying that they wanted to pay for some layaways for people. And I thought that was so dope. And I'm like, you know what? I like that feeling. So maybe I'll do something like that. Maybe I can't pay for a whole layaway, but maybe I can pay for some of it. You don't know how you're going to bless people. You have no idea how you're going to help them by not thinking about you. And a lot of times that's like a trick. Like it's like a trick. By doing for others, you feel better about yourself. And so, that's it, and maybe it distracts you. And sometimes you just realizing that, wow, gratitude helps too. When you start to be grateful for where you're at in your life and you realize that what you could have been, especially in 2020, a lot of people didn't make it. And so to be like, you know what, I don't have everything I want, but guess what? I actually am doing really well. And I have people that love me, and, and I love them, and I love myself, and I have my right mind. And sometimes that alone will be able to remind you that, I'm not so bad off. And that, whatever is causing me to feel this way for an extended period of time. Because again, loneliness is nothing wrong. Everybody goes through it, but extended periods of it, we want to figure out what those things that are missing that cause us to feel that way. Okay. So, y'all, that's just a couple things. I hope that helped. I really, really, really hope that you got something from that, because we all deal with that. And this next couple of weeks, I'm gonna be talking about stuff to deal with through the holidays, because I know it's hard for some people. I know it's extremely hard, and we all have our moments. So I just want to make sure that we are addressing it, because we're family, guys. If we can't talk about it here, when can we talk about it? It's nothing that we can't talk about here. If you guys have any topics that you maybe don't want to bring up in the comment, inbox me, DM me. Say, hey, Paris, what about this? Can you speak on this? I'm definitely open. If you're watching the replay, put it in the comments. Say, hey, this is a good topic, or tell me what you think about it, or if you have any other suggestions about it. Tell me what you think about how you deal with it. Okay. So I'm gonna end this up. Well, you already know what I'm saying. You are enough. Let me see. Y'all see my shirt? This is one of the shirts that's on the site. Oh, sorry. If y'all can see it again, that's the You Are Enough. This is the You Are Enough too. And now, not too much. You're not extra. You're not lacking. You're not worthy. I love it because I just feel like I have to remind everybody that you are enough, just how you are. I promise you, you don't have to, take another class. You don't have to be nicer. You don't have to do anything. You're just enough. You're enough for me to love you. You're enough for God to love you. You're enough for you to love you. You really are. And I'm going to tell you till you believe it. I promise I will. Because guess what? You're going to mess around and believe it one day. And when you start believing you are enough, what can you do? What are the millions of things you can do? I'm excited about that moment when you start believing it, because somebody needs to hear that. So I'm going to finish it up like that. Reminder, you can get the shirts if you want to. Again, great holiday gifts. on the site. I put it on here, www.parispjohnson.com. You can get them in time for the holidays. Gift them to anybody in your life that needs to know that they are enough, that needs to know that they need to embrace the peculiar, because, hey, guess what? Whatever flavor you are, it's great. Okay. And so go ahead and do that. I am doing a giveaway next week. So both Tuesday and Thursday, I'm going to be on, and I'm going to do a giveaway both days. I'm going to give away some t-shirts, guys, right? So that you can gift them out. And I'm going to tell you the details of that. I'll be putting those on later on, but just be present, guys. Be available. I have some great surprises coming up into 2021. So I felt like this is the least that I could do. I got so much support, so much great. You guys rock with me every time I come on here, and I'm so humble. Even when people are watching that I don't know that's watching, I'm just so humble and grateful that you guys think enough to listen to what I have to say. So I'm hoping it's helpful. I mean, that's the goal. If one person is helped, that's all that ever mattered. And please share this if you know anybody that can listen to it or use this. You just never know what people are dealing with, especially in this holiday season. If it can help them, like, why not, right? It's free, right? All right, love you guys. I will see you on Tuesday. Please have a good weekend. You know what I talk about, the self-care. Do something nice for yourself. You know, take a bath, take a walk, listen to some music, cook a good meal, call a good friend up and say, hey, we haven't connected in a while. How you doing? And just catch up. Be intentional about everything you're doing. Be present. If you're in the house with your kids, turn your phone off. Tell them to turn their phone off and have some time with them. If you're with your spouse, go ahead and just sit up there and maybe read a book together. Who knows? Have a conversation. You know, anything, just connect. You'd be surprised how it makes you feel. And you might be surprised how it makes that person feel. All right. Love you all. Y'all have an amazing rest of your evening. Yeah, I didn't do even a whole hour. I'm proud of myself. All right. And don't forget, for the people who don't like to do Facebook, this is on YouTube as well. So you can go to Conversations from Paris from there. Okay. Love you all. Have a great evening. I'll see you on Tuesday.